Let's get a little creative with the pulley system today. So you've probably seen me use the pulleys to help mobilize or move the shoulder through a range of motion. It could be active range of motion, passive range of motion, or active assisted range of motion. But there are other things you can do with the pulley system. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the position. I'm going to bring it down to a middle position. I set the pulley up where it's just a little bit above the elbow, but it's below the shoulder. And what we're going to do is we're going to do isometric muscle contraction, eccentric muscle contraction, and concentric muscle contraction. So an isometric muscle contraction, for example, if I had a problem with my right shoulder and I wanted to work internal rotation isometrically, I would resist the motion. I'd pull against my own resistance. There's no movement, but the muscles tighten. That's isometric. I could also do external by holding on the outside. I'm pushing against my fingers enough that I feel a muscle contraction, but there's no movement. That's isometric strengthening or isometric muscle contraction. Concentric muscle contraction would be if I pull against resistance and I shorten the muscle through the range of motion. So internal rotation, I could resist with my opposite hand. I pull against that resistance, I feel the muscle contraction, and I'm shortening the muscle as I pull in. Concentric external rotation would be the same thing, just in the opposite direction. I'm using my non-injured arm to resist my recovering arm as I go through a full range of motion into external rotation. Isometric, concentric, the last one is eccentric. So eccentric would be when I am resisting, but I'm allowing that resistance to overcome my strength. I'm lengthening the muscle through a range of motion. So how do we do that with the shoulder pulley system? Very simple. So I can hold both handles in one hand. This is the arm that I'm using for my recovery. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and shorten this up just a little bit. And then what we're going to do here is isometric external rotation. I like the thumb up position. I like my hand to be positioned a little higher than the elbow, but lower than the shoulder. My non-injured side is the anchor, and I'm pulling against the resistance. So you can't tell because you can't feel what I feel. But what's happening is I'm trying to pull my arm away, keep my elbow tucked in, and I'm creating tension in the shoulder joint. There's muscle tension, but no movement. That means it's isometric. If I want to do that eccentrically, I can get into that position, resist with my right shoulder, but then my left shoulder overcomes that resistance. So what's happening is my left non-injured side is pulling my right side in toward my body against resistance. This would be eccentric external rotation. I'm pulling into that inward position. Concentric resistance would be just the opposite. So now I'm concentrically working external rotators. My left is my resistance. My right is pulling against the left, and it's allowing the right hand to move into external rotation through the glenohumeral joint. Each of these exercises could be done based on your physical therapist's prescription.